years ago.
What?
Oh, I saw the band when they came to Art Park. I think it was 2017.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Were you-
Are we all set? Okay. We're good to go. Okay, we're bad to go. Bad to the bone. I don't think he can hear us.
but I can sort. Somebody said snow.
Yeah, do you have?
Oh, yeah, we got kind of a lot of snow here. Oh, you can't hear me?
It's kind of choppy, a little bit, it's bad quality.
Maybe get closer to your mic.
Hey, okay, can you hear me now?
That's good. No? Oh, Peter can't hear you yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna try getting in on another device. Um, oh boy.
I can hear. Can you hear?
Here's some of the quality.
Oh.
Let me, I'm gonna count to 15. Let's see if it comes through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
It sort of sounds like you're talking into a can.
We can hear you, but we'll just do the best we can. We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, because I'm doing this through my phone. Um, sorry, and I'm trying to get in through my laptop.
Do you want to use a microphone, Peter, or he can't hear you?
John, this is Peter.
Yeah.
You seem to be able to come and go. Actually, sometimes your voice is not too bad. Other times it's just really garbled.
Oh, okay.
Right
Oh,
now, for example, as you're responding to me, I can hear you at least a little bit.
okay. All right. Yeah, I am trying to access this meeting on my laptop also to see if I might get a better thing. Um, but it's telling me that it needs to update, and goodness knows. A minute. Okay.
At the moment,
Well,
you
right now,
sound
the one
great.
you're talking to us right now, John, it's not too bad. It's worthwhile having the program if you can't do better than this.
Okay. Because this is probably the best I'm going to get it.
Okay, it's worthwhile doing the program.
Okay.
The way it was bad before, there wasn't any point in even doing it.
Okay. Um, all right. Well, yeah, and I might be able to. I'm working on something now that might help with it. Um, okay. Or I could go. I mean, I could go ask Elizabeth if I could try it on her phone and see if it works better.
Well, when you lean back, you seem to degrade a lot.
Okay. So I need to stay closer.
That's good.
Okay. So now you say it's working clearly now.
Yeah. But I think you just lost it, John.
I'm gonna move some things around and see how close I can. Okay, so I can get this close.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Um, okay, well, should I try the opening words? Should I start? Should I start?
Yes.
Well, good. Good morning. It's good to see you all. I can see you on the screen. Welcome to this time which we make sacred by gathering together. Bring your brokenness and your power, your fatigue and your energy, your vulnerabilities and strengths. For here you need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. In this gathering, the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, and compassion is strength. Welcome to this sacred time. Erica is going to lead us in the chalice lighting.
Good morning. This is Betsy, not Erica. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. Thanks, Susan.
I'll just do the first verse.
361.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard nights. If you cannot sing like the angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can hear from deep within you. Love will change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard nights.
To continue on our way through bamboozled services, that was going to be the last hymn.
What?
So we're going to sing, I guess, Enter Rejoice and Come In for the first hymn. I mean, for the last hymn. Okay. Just so you know.
Okay.
All right. I'd like to. I'm sorry. Now I seem to be coming in twice. For a reading today, I'd like to share a piece by early 20th century Mohawk poet Pauline Johnson, and she's describing a Mohawk baby boy attending his first religious ritual. She wrote, "Before the baby is many weeks old, his mother always carries him to some of the great religious dances or festivals of his tribe. So his religious training is begun long before he can even take the smallest active part in the services. He is usually lifted to his mother's shoulders and carried. An adroit twist to her blanket forms an easy pocket where he hangs rather than sits, his little black eyes watching with fascinated delight the gorgeous trappings of the worshipers, the brilliant colors, the shining silver and bead ornaments, his alert little ears catching every jingle of the clinking bracelets and necklets of the bear's claws and the elk's teeth worn by the dancers, as they circle about the length of the longhouse. The young mother steps into the circle to give her tiny baby the first introduction to the solemn worship of the Great Spirit, who watches over his children while they offer to him their simple but sincere gratitude. But the baby does not remain small enough to be carried into the dances. With his second year comes the privilege of walking into the circle, his hand clinging tightly to his mother's, his small moccasined feet stumbling in step and rhythm. The very first day he masters the slightest resemblance to a dance, he receives the reward of being taken among the adults, even though his father needs to steady his baby feet and occasionally lift his tiny body to a great shoulder to give the faithful devotee breathing space and rest." Peter, would you like to lead us in honoring joys and sorrows?
Is everybody listening? Nobody's napping? It does seem a little peculiar to speak to an audience that doesn't have much substance today. I'm not knocking the two people that I'm looking out at. If either of you or Betsy wishes to share a joy or a sorrow, I will give you that opportunity, but we're going to go through a moment of silence like we always do first so we can decide whether any of us wish to share it. Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to share a joy or a sorrow this morning?
What a brave, Betsy, brave on this cold day with a beautiful dress on. So anyway, I just want to say I am very grateful for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people being here. And I'm going to say a little prayer and whatever must be said, that you get home safely so I can see you again next week. And I'll light a candle on that.
and Alexandra, who lives in Savannah. She messaged us that she was in Washington, D.C. yesterday. She was at the Free Palestine rally. We told her to be safe. I checked her. She's on 360 Life. She's in a hotel, so I know she's safe now.
Is there anyone else who would like to share a joy or a sorrow? What about anybody coming in from the Zoom? Anybody express that? Desi wants it?
Yeah, I just want to say New Year's greetings to all of you, and wanted to ask to light a candle for the state of our world that seems so troubled, and to send out thoughts of peace and love. Thank you.
I will light one final candle for any unspoken joys or sorrows.
Yeah.
The offertory is next.
Hubby, I just do Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow and the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
All right. For my sermon today, I was planning an interactive sermon where we would think about names that we have given to others, whether it is a person or a pet. So I'm going to talk about naming for a few minutes. And then I'm going to invite you, if anyone would like to share the story of a name that you have given to a child or a name that you've given to a pet, and how that name came to you, and how that expressed something important about that relationship. In Iroquois cultures, the Haudenosaunee, the indigenous peoples of New York, during the two largest ceremonies of the year, the midwinter and the harvest, there is an expression that the wind is open for names. Babies who have been born in that half of the year will receive a traditional name. A Native American name will often be a noun and a verb, like crazy horse or sitting bull. This is why names in indigenous languages will often be 4 or 5 syllables, it's a sentence in which some, usually an animal, is in the act of doing something. European names tended to do this as well. A name like Bruce Wayne would mean Bruce is fixing a wagon, or Thomas Snodgrass would mean Thomas is mowing the lawn. But over time, these images have kind of been lost. In some cultures, a family name comes from the father's side. In most Native American cultures, including the Iroquois, the family or clan name is matrilineal, meaning it comes from the mother and female ancestors. In a Seneca village, for example, last names are bear, wolf, turtle, beaver, deer, hawk, snipe, and heron. And these last names have numerous functions. For one thing, ensuring that a person will not marry a close relative, and making sure that each clan does its collective share of ceremonial sharing and labor. Each clan possesses what's called a basket of names, a collection of personal names which are worn by members. And these are names that are not currently in use, either because they belonged to past members of the clan or belonged to someone who then changed their name. A modern Mohawk midwife describes how one little boy got his name. She said, "It's like that one mother who came to me to name her son, and when I asked about his birth story, she told me in the evening and afternoon when she would go outside and walk around the fields, she knew that she was having a boy, and every time she would go on her walk, there would be a series of animals that would come to the forest edge to gaze upon her walking. The deer, the rabbit, the fox, the birds, the squirrel, all of these animals would stand at the forest edge and watch her. And the midwife says, that story alone tells me that the boy will be either a hunter or someone who protects those animals by working in conservation, to be someone who saves them from extinction. So I gave him the name, which means they look upon him." The midwife refers to this as his canoe name, how he'll be known within the stream of Iroquois culture and ritual. But he will also have what she calls a saltwater name, his legal title on the dominant ship of the saltwater people, the European immigrants. So that will become his legal American name. Another Mohawk midwife describes naming ceremonies. She says the parents, the clan mother, singer, and speaker stand in front of the people, and the speaker tells the people who this child is and what that child's name will be. The speaker reminds the people of their responsibility to this child as he or she grows, and how they, especially the child's clan family, have an obligation to inform the family of any significant issues that may affect the child, as well as to recognize the child's special gifts and this child, how they can support their growth culturally and spiritually. The clan family then has a responsibility to direct the child to the right people who can assist in supporting their special gifts and needs. The Onondaga chief Irving Powless describes the spiritual significance of his indigenous name and how it connects him with the natural world. He said, "After they gave me the name, I was held up in the longhouse, and it was announced to the world that from this day forward, the world would know who I was, as a member of the Wolf Clan. So whenever I go into the woods, all the trees know who I am, and the plants know who I am, and the animals know who I am because I was introduced at this ceremony to the world. So wherever I go, I know I am with relatives. And so it's impossible for me to walk alone in the forest." In the Iroquois village, nicknaming can also be a form of gentle law enforcement. If someone is known to be selfish or disruptive, community members will begin calling them by a new name that reflects this misbehavior. Receiving one of these nicknames is a sign of personal weakness, and the person will want to restore their reputation as quickly as possible to get their old name back. Then in the midwinter or green corn ceremony, they will have opportunities for a villager to plead that they have reformed, and if this is agreed to be true, their prior name will be restored. In our culture, naming is still a very important thing, and some of us have had the chance to name a child or a pet, and we can use that name to preserve a name from the past or to impart some kind of value, something important to us that is contained in a certain name. My name, for example, is made up from from Thomas and Snodgrass, which are names that come from my paternal great-great-great-grandfather. And my middle name, John, which comes from my father's mother. So it is a combination of familial pieces. And some parts of that I then got to hand on to my children. For example, my oldest son received my first name, Thomas, and my last name, Snodgrass, but then also a middle name that I chose, which was Jackson, after the singer-songwriter Jackson Brown. So I invite you to think for a moment, and if anyone would like to share a story of a name that you got to give to someone else, and what that came from, and what meaning you attached to that as you thought about how that person might grow and develop.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi. Well, I have a really interesting personal naming history. So I think most folks here know that I was adopted. I was born in Chatham, Ontario. My mom brought me back up to Manitoulin Island, where I was registered as Ernestine Patricia Pheasant. Pheasant was my mother's maiden name, and very much like the Iroquois, we were named after various animals. Then the government decided that, good, bad, or indifferent, we would be removed from our homes. So she came home from work one day, and I don't know who she'd left me with, but I was gone. So then my adopted parents, and that's a whole nother story, which is kind of super cute, decided that they would keep the Patricia. They didn't care for the Ernestine. Oh, and I don't know if you know, most of the people on my reserve at the time, we were automatically born Catholic. And that never goes away, so I am actually Catholic. And so I was named after Saint Ernestine. So lost that name, and my adopted dad wanted me to be named for the maiden of Lorraine, which was Joan of Arc. So they gave me Lorraine, and I became Patricia Lorraine Callback. Then when I moved to Toronto, I was able to get in touch with a lot more Native people. And I had an Iroquois teacher, actually from the Oneida Reserve. And we did a naming ceremony. I'm actually from the Muckwa or Bear Clan. And like most of the Iroquois, we were named after an animal or a plant or something. So my name is Wabana Nun, which means woman of the morning star. And then I found out who my real dad was. I got to meet my great aunt, my aunt, and my cousin. My great aunt and aunt on his side have already passed, and my real dad had already passed. I did get to meet my real mom, and I have 4 brothers. And his last name is Lake. So I have decided that I am changing my whole name to Morning Star Lake.
Well, thank you. That's a really nice name.
I like it. But Patty is good since that's kind of my legalish name.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Has anyone ever named,
Oh, you're breaking up again, John.
um, is there anyone else who'd like to share a story of naming someone?
When I went to name my oldest son, I named him Jeffrey Scott. I was young and I just thought, oh, those sound good together. They had nothing to do with anybody, family, or anything. However, I remember in the middle of the night, that night, the nurse woke me up or something and said, oh, you're the second or third person in that particular bed to have named their child Jeffrey Scott. And I thought, well, that is weird. Well, it turned out, I can't remember too much about it, but there was a very popular movie out then where the young girl was dying of cancer and her fiance was sobbing and all this. And his name was Jeffrey Scott. And everybody and I didn't, well, I knew about it, but I wasn't even thinking of that. But that just shows how shallow I am, I guess. I don't know, but that's how that child was named.
I think I need to introduce this with a story about how you can often tell the big lies and have them camouflaged as the truth. Statistically, for example, we could make an honest and genuine and accurate statistical set of observations about our attendance here today, that 2/3 of our participants in person are female. And I could make the statement that I have personally been married to half of them.
Wait a minute, I thought Sue was your sister.
And so I'll tell you that since you know that I'm already inclined sometimes to not tell things exactly the way everyone else would expect them to be told, I can tell you how 1/4 of the women in this gathering and I named our youngest son. She'll probably dispute this fact. I looked up in the Bible and I found that a name that sounded a lot like Diachin to me, since I couldn't read any of the original words in the Bible, I couldn't make a judgment and had to just sort of guess it the way they were sounded out. And it said in the Bible to me that the youngest son of Diachin should be named Aaron. And so we did name our youngest son Aaron. Now, would the other half of that decision-making process have any comments to make on that? Okay.
My older sister. Oh, yeah, Bill, were you going to say something?
Press the button in for this.
Testing. I'm coming through. Okay. My wife and I have been together for about 20 years, and she has a second cousin who comes up periodically, and his name is Jorma. And when she first mentioned her cousin Jorma many years ago, I said, "Oh, you mean Yorma?" She said, no, Jorma. It's spelled Jorma. I said, that's pronounced Yorma. I said, no, it's Jorma. So a few years go by, we have this argument again. Well, periodically over the years. And so this past April, I did a road trip, and I stopped to see Jorma's mom, our Aunt Anna, who lives outside in Bethesda, outside of Washington. And we went for a walk through the park, and Anna's about 90 now. And she mentioned the fact that she named her son because she was in a friend's house and she saw a record album, and it was a record album by the Finnish artist Jorma Kaukonen. And she said all those years, it said on the record album Jorma, but she thought it was pronounced Jorma, so she named her son Jorma. And she said that it was only many, many years later that somebody told her, no, it's pronounced Yorba. So now I had proof I could bring home to my wife. Anyway.
Here, I have a microphone. I don't have a story on naming. I've got a story of I want Alexandra to name. So Alexandra's father's in Greece, and when we brought her to Greece, they asked who was she named after, because you're supposed to name her after a family member, and I didn't know that. But her grandmother, her great-grandmother, Pro-Yaya, was in her 90s, and Alexandra and Pro-Yaya were very, very sweet. She would do each other's hair, and I love Pro-Yaya. And so I told Alexandra I'd like her to name, if she has any children, if she has a daughter, her name is Petiskevi, which I don't think sounds very nice. They call her Skevi, which I don't like. But in English, it's Friday, the day Friday. And I said, name your daughter Friday. But for a while, Alexandra thought I was saying fried egg, like an egg. I said, no. So she still doesn't know. Alexandra doesn't know she wants children, but she could do Petiskevi, but I'd call the baby Friday.
Elizabeth and I have named 4 children. And like each time we've expected a boy, the very first thing that we had to get out of the way was that I would say Roger, and she would say no, not Roger. She just refused to name any of them Roger. But when we were expecting our second son, I wanted to name him Muhammad. But there is this thing in Islam that you're not allowed to say the name Muhammad in like an angry, or disciplinary way, just in case somebody overhears you and thinks that you are, whatever, trying to discipline the Prophet Muhammad. And so we realized that being non-Muslim, and having to like drag this kid through grocery stores and say like, Muhammad, sit down, was going to get us in a lot of trouble. So we went with Malcolm after Malcolm X. So we were still able to, whatever, give him a good Muslim name. Well, good. Well, thank you all for sharing these stories. Good. So we're going to move into the closing hymn, which is also kind of the opening hymn. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Get up, rejoice, and go out.
That's right.
Get up, rejoice, and go out. Get up, rejoice, and go out. Today will be a joyful day. Get up, rejoice, and go out. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone.
Do we have any announcements today?
I did have one announcement is that Craig Mokhiber is coming next week. He retired from the UN. He has some very strong opinions about Gaza and Palestine and Israel, and he'll be speaking next week here. And I think it's only announcements I have.
Although we may be physically scattered, together we create a sacred space. Remember that you are blessed and you are a blessing and you are not alone. We'll now do the chalice extinguishing.
Chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Oh, that's it. Okay, so I only practiced this morning. There's an annoyingly joyful story behind it. I bought it off of Music Notes before Christmas, thinking that I would have it for Christmas, but then there was a mess up with my account, so I just got it this morning. I think it fits though. Don't cry, snowman, not in front of me. Who'll catch your tears if you can't catch me, darling? If you can't catch me, darling. Don't cry, snowman, don't leave me this way. A puddle of water can't hold me close, baby. Can't hold me close, baby. I want you to know that I'm never leaving, 'cause I miss the snow till death will be freezing. So you are my home for all seasons. So come on, let's go. Let's go below zero and hide from the sun. I love you forever, where we'll have some fun. Yes, let's hit the North Pole and live happily. So don't cry tears, now it's Christmas, baby. My snowman